Hey everybody, I'm Captain Tommy Scoble, and you were on the lifeboat. Sorry about that intro. I was listening to a song this morning, and I wanted to hear the end of it, so I played with that intro a little bit longer than it should have gone. I was listening to "You're So Vain." I think it's what I was listening to. Oh no, it was one of those kind of mornings. I was listening to the female artist this morning. Excuse me, a little bit of heartburn. So let's go over all the stuff I don't want to go over, and then we'll start our day. Cosmic Christie, good to see you. Hello, full of hope. Nice to see you. Seventh, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Janice Bailey, good to see you. Francis, John. So we're going to start with the unpleasant. So yesterday I did a video about the actor Russell Brand and his problems that he's having. And a lot of people reach out to me and send me emails, and they went from those who told me that I'm a terrible person for not defending him and for believing the alleged, and they love using the word alleged, the alleged attackers. I mean, the alleged victims, rather. So there's a lot of people that think I'm a dirtbag because I didn't handle that one right. There are other people who think that I just shouldn't have touched it. There was probably a subject matter that should have been left alone. And I don't justify what I do to people here. I really don't. I'm going to this time because I think it's important to me that everybody has a handle on this. Russell Brand does what I do, right? Hello? Russell Brand does what I do. He talks about sobriety almost all day. The rest of the time he spends talking about conspiracy theories and other things that concern our country and our world. Free speech, right to bear arms, all of that stuff, right? My channel, I can do what I want. Damn right, Cosmic. But there are people who think that I sold out because what I was supposed to do was come on here and tell you how this man is innocent and how these women made this stuff up. I literally got letters from people that said that, right? Literally got letters from people who said that my job as a guy, right? Because I've got junk between the legs. My job was to come on here and to defend Russell Brand. It's amazing how something like this can bring out the Neanderthal in people who normally would be just men, right? It's times like this that no lie can make you somewhat embarrassed to be a dude. This is one of those subjects that no one comes out looking good. There's no way to take a side on this and have it work. You're not going to say, well, I'm going to side this way and have it be a good thing for you. There are no winners in this, right? It's like the Danny Masterson trial, sitting at that sentencing. Nobody won. Nobody won. A guy with everything in the entire world in front of him, and money and family and fame and everything that most people could aspire to want, was throwing all of that down the drain while we watched. That sentencing was heart-wrenching. It was justice. Make no mistake, he got what he deserved, but nobody walked out of that courtroom thinking, wow, that was great. What a good time that was. Even the Jane Does, they were happy it was over. It was very obvious. The hugs that were exchanged were genuine, and they were happy that this part of the story is in the books. But it's an ugly subject matter. It really is. So I'm going to make my spot on this one more time really, really clear, because I never said yesterday that I think that Russell Brand is guilty. I never said that. I don't have enough evidence to make that. Now, preponderance of evidence, right? There are two different kinds of legal thresholds in the United States. One would be preponderance of evidence. This is usually used for civil cases where the burden of proof is left. Beyond a reasonable doubt, I don't know how anybody is ever going to make something like that beyond a reasonable doubt without an awful lot of physical evidence, right? So you have to go with things like more like the preponderance of the evidence. I don't mean in a legal stance, people. Obviously, you have to go beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. But in the world that we're living in this discussion, this is a man who's been very, very open about his past. I mean, you should read the things that the guy's written. He wrote about the fact that he was a pretty sick individual when it came to sexual proclivities, right? That's not something that's a shock to anybody. So I'm leaning toward, yeah, I think he might have done it. That's what I'm leaning toward. But from now on, and let's get this clear so I don't have to ever do this again. From now on, I'm erring on the side of the women, or a man if he happens to be the victim. Right? I'm going to err on the side of the person who was assaulted. And you know what? Am I going to get burned? I bet you someday I do. I bet you someday somebody makes an accusation that doesn't come true and that that comes out to not be real. There are people out there who do that. I talked to somebody last night on the telephone who knows people who have been accused of things that they didn't do. It happens, right? But in the meantime, I'm going to believe the women because we never have before. So, right? I'm going to. You don't have to. It's your decision, right? I respect everybody's decision. You can say whatever you'd like. U.S. courts are rigged. So I do not foresee justice in my opinion. It is who you know. Nothing to do with justice, just in my humble opinion. And it's a pretty solid one. I don't know that you could argue that opinion, right? We certainly have seen our legal system for sale before. Monk says, I'm still on the fence. That's a good place for everybody to be. In a perfect world, every single person alive would be on the fence right now, right? The one that he is on right now. Every single person on the planet should be on that fence, except Russell Brand and the people that have accused him. They know the truth. The rest of us ought to be sitting on a fence, right? Waiting for more evidence, waiting to see what comes up. But we can't do that. We're not built that way. We're not built that way. And this crap has become almost like a sporting event now in our country and around the world where we weigh in on things like this. This is a very big deal, right? So let's just, while we sit on the fence, assume that these women wouldn't lie about something like this for reasons that all of the ignoramuses have sent me. Oh, they lie to become famous. Oh, hell yes. I promise you. Having had this much fame, let me tell you just how much they are looking forward to being famous for somebody that has been assaulted. Oh, they're living for that day. Doesn't every woman want that? My God. Or if someone says, you know what, they're in it for the money. People, there are a lot easier ways to get cash. There really are. And normally when you see it progress to the point where they're talking about authorities, right? People who are in it for money do it very quietly. For real. They lose a lot of that threat. The idea is you pay somebody why? You pay somebody so they will not tell, so that this will not come out in public. That's why usually people try to settle out of court, is to stop the procedure in its tracks so that it doesn't become something criminal, right? That usually happens. This is right out in the open, which means that these women are putting themselves through a hell that, as I said last night briefly, I watched 2 hours of that hell. I watched what the Jane Does in the Danny Masterson case went through just for 2 hours, people. Just for 2 hours at sentencing. And, people talk a lot about Leah Remini. Watching her comfort the Jane Does, that was real. I mean, if you could have seen the emotion there between all parties, it was a difficult thing to watch, and I didn't think it was going to be. As a guy, I didn't think I was going to enjoy that. No one is, but boy, oh boy, how difficult it was to watch. Alan Ballantyne said the same thing to me. I mean, we walked out of that courtroom, and you would have thought that the takeaway from something like that was famous people were there, right? We're in America. Holy crap, they were stars. Or did you see the scene? And by scene, I mean people who were yelling at the Jane Does and acting like jackasses, But when we walked out of there, the first thing Alan said to me was, man, those women are incredible. Those women are absolutely incredible. Ms. Trout, I believe her first name is Misha Trout. got up and the paper in her hand. I was 20 feet away from her, 25 feet away from her. And I could hear that the paper. Heroes. All right, everyone. It's Monday morning. It's Monday morning. Balake Richardson says, I love the dad joke that Seventh cranked off yesterday. He said he decided to sell his vacuum because it was gathering dust. Bump. Not bad, Seventh. This starts our new week, people, and it's going to be an odd one. This is going to be an interesting week. If you remember, I had a bit of a medical scare on the way back from dropping Alan Valentine off at the aeroport. Though I ended up on the side of the road, and I was at a fairly frightening experience that because of the things that have been going on with my health have required that I went in and got a very large battery of tests conducted on the human body. In fact, I'm no med student, but I have been to a lot of doctors. I've had a lot of injuries over the years. I don't think there's anything they didn't test. I mean, truthfully, the number of times that they stuck me and took blood out of me, and I ran on a treadmill, and I got into this little like water pool thing that you displace a certain amount of water so they could test what my body fat is, and just it was really a big deal. This physical took an entire day. It was like a 7 or 8 hour ordeal. It's a beautiful, beautiful thought, isn't it? I don't think anyone says we have to choose a side, but we can. It's it's a beautiful thing. If if you can not do that right now, I think that would be fantastic. Like kind of sitting on the fence, I think would be a really, really great idea. And if you choose a side, this isn't going to be one of those situations where you're going to feel like a winner, right? I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I don't think that there are going to be any winners in this. I really don't. So today is the day that I have to go back to the hospital and kind of do the entire thing in reverse. What I mean by that is I saw a lot of different doctors to pull off all of the different tests. They're all part of the same facility, but there were a lot of different people who were administering things. I'm going to now go back and meet with all of them, and they're going to say to me, well, Tommy, you're having a problem with this, and this, or you're as healthy as a horse. My money's not on the horse thing. We know, we're going to find out we're going to find out all the testing stuff. To be really honest with you, I'm a little freaked out. I don't think I'm scared. Moving across the country this week, I'm driving with 3 dogs, 2 cats, 1,200 miles. It's challenging my sobriety. I am so nervous. Let me tell you something, Gypsy. I was talking last night with Johnny, my brother, about this exact same subject because Johnny is doing some moving this morning, actually. He mentioned that at one time when he was younger, my father mailed him an article, and it said that outside of death, there is nothing in the world that causes more stress to a human being than moving. It is a very, very difficult thing in the best of circumstances, and I can tell you a little bit about this, Gypsy, because I just did it. I just moved 1,200 miles across country with a cat and all of my possessions, and it's a difficult thing. Hopefully the results will be that you are even healthier than you thought you were. I'll tell you what, the results, if they say I'm healthy, I'm going to think that I'm healthier than I thought I was. And that will be fantastic. See, Christy says, Gypsy, oh my, that's quite an adventure. And I love that. I love that attitude because that really is, right? This is an adventure and it's an opportunity, right? You're on the lifeboat. So obviously what you're trying to do is live your best life possible, right? So anytime we move, now don't get me wrong. Moving is not a get out of jail free card. It doesn't change everything because no matter where you are, you're still there. I've moved 45 times in my life and I'm only in my 30s. Atypical, Paul. Good Lord, my brother. I suspect a heart valve something or other, says Kathy. Kathy's fairly intelligent. I think that there's a pretty good chance that a heart valve is going to be involved in some of what I've got going on. To be sure, there's been some talk of some procedures concerning the heart. I know my heart's got some issues, right? I've been wearing a thing on my chest because of it, right? So, although it's not on now, but I have been. So I'm hoping that there's not more stuff about. Yeah, I just hope that it's that I don't learn anything new. Lene, I think you know what, Lene. Here, Lene says. I do not follow Russell Brand. He is not my guru of sobriety. I take sobriety personally. I have to have an affinity with others in sobriety. Not everyone touches my mind, my heart, and my soul. I think that's probably true for everybody. And I think it's probably very much the case when you're talking about sobriety because of just how personal a thing that that sobriety is for all parties involved, right? Sobriety is pretty heavy, and I'm sorry, people. Microphone. I don't subscribe to his particular brand of sobriety either. However, he's such a great voice for it. He's such an advocate for it, and anybody that takes sobriety out of the closet and makes talking about sobriety something that you're 6 weeks out from getting your second pacemaker. Really? Did they let you keep the first one? I might need it. They're fairly expensive. What did you do with the first one? What are used pacemakers going for these days? I'm 6 weeks out from getting my second pacemaker. If you need anything, let me know. Thank you, Atypical Paul. I appreciate that. There has been talk of a defibrillator that they would like to maybe put in there someday, but we're not gonna work on that today. I'm not quite ready for that just yet. So we'll see what they have to say. I'll be honest, I'm nervous about it, and I normally don't get this way. How about a funny thing on Monday? As many of you know, I have a policy against cruelty. I don't watch people that are jackasses. I don't watch people that are cruel for the sake of cruel. And if that cruelty is aimed at me, well, then I most assuredly don't watch it. I don't enjoy watching what a bad guy I am. I've got that down. I don't need anybody to help point that out. You know what I'm saying? I honestly, Cosmic Christie, I didn't know anything about any type of cruelty, and I don't want to because it's just going to disturb the hell out of me because I don't do well with that. But thank you. That's certainly eye-opening. She mentioned something about animal abuse. Really, really don't do well with that at all. In fact, I'll tell you something. I could take people out with a baseball bat for being bad to animals, and I could feel good about it. Like I could do it for a living. I could go in and punch in on a time clock at 9 o'clock in the morning and start smacking guys in the head with baseball bats until it was time to go home. I just don't like people that hurt animals. I don't like people that take advantage of anything just solely because they can, which is why people hurt animals, why people hurt kids. It's because they're sick sons of bitches and they should deserve to die, each and every one of them. It's my humble opinion. And if that doesn't jive with yours, there are a lot of channels full of pacifists who probably don't have any problem with people like that. It should be really easy to find in this day and age. Heart issues. I went through this myself with my dad. Now it's what I'm dealing with myself. Yeah, my dad my dad went through a lot of this. He did it with so much more style. My dad was stoic. He was a tough guy. He really was. He was a really tough guy. Yeah, Tim, it would be a great job. You and I could punch in together, brother. I would do that. Bypass surgery, says Boltneck, and or stents work wonders. I had both. Luckily, my symptoms improved and a pacemaker wasn't needed. Okay. The medical field has made leaps and bounds in this. A lot of truth to that. I think people, and you know, I shouldn't do this until I have something solid because there are people out there that care about me, and I don't want to freak anybody out or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's procedures are all they all end up frightening. But ablation is probably what I'm looking at. I'm going to be looking at a type of ablation, which is where they're going to go in with a laser. This is the theory, anyway. It has nothing is etched in stone yet. I won't know until I get down there, but they sure as hell talked a lot about this. They're going to go into the laser and they're going to kill part of the heart muscle, right? The heart muscle everything has to be perfectly rhythmic, and if there's a hint, blood backs up and just things happen. And I have that. You all are pretty familiar with atrial fibrillation. I have atrial flutter, which is the exact same thing as atrial fibrillation. The only difference is that atrial fibrillation means that you're going to do this one. Atrial flutter means you're going to do this one, right? Our lines are still very predictable. They just speed up for no apparent reason. So there's no like misfire. My heart fires. It just starts firing really, really fast. And it starts firing so fast that we get into that life-threatening, 250, 240 beats a minute kind of a thing, which is really not good. And if I don't do something about it and do something about it quickly, and I've made this mistake in the past where I didn't know what exactly was going on, and I started to get the flutter, and I didn't do anything. And when I got in to see the doctor, I was all but a cripple. Like I could barely walk. I was really, really in bad shape. And the tests all looked like, I mean, they were hanging crepe, people. They were talking about really bad things like the captain not maybe doing next season. And the reason is, I finally got a doctor who was intelligent, an Indian fellow who came in and said to me, none of the tests that we're doing on you mean anything. I said, what? And he said, well, imagine if you ran a marathon and then came in here and sat down and said, take my vitals. He said, that would be stupid, wouldn't it? I said, of course. And he said, well, you have been running a marathon for 36 hours. Your heart has been above what a marathon runner's would be for almost 2 days. And that's what was happening. He said, so to test you now, like, what am I testing? I'm testing a guy that just ran, 400 miles in a couple of days. Like, that's what my heart was doing. So I think when I was on the side of the road and I was having that issue, I was probably in full-blown flutter. There was so much else going on with pain that I couldn't make a long story short. That whole process scared me, and it scared the people that love me. And I know that that's a lot of you too, but I mean the people that are in my my very much inside my sphere of influence. What they say here in Virginia is that animal abusers need killing. Oddly, I actually saw a little justice dispensed that way. I won't mention the crime. I will just say that it was not kind, and it involved animals, 2 of them. And the gentleman that was guilty was brought to a county jail that I was at. And it was one of those things that, when someone walks through the front door in a county jail, all the heads turn. And you look to see if you recognize them from the news or anything, right? Because this is all usually stuff that you just hear about. It's all brand new. And one of the guys in there said, that's the animal abuse guy. And I swear to you, there were 9 people bending down to tie their shoes at the same time. Like, I'm lacing up and I'm going to go take this dude out. There is justice in behind bars. It exists. It's not pretty justice. It's certainly not what people are used to, but people who do bad things pay for it in there. And people who do things that are senselessly violent are met with senseless violence. So there is a little bit of justice to that. I am going to be doing some stuff, I think, today. Oh, you have an electrical heart problem. I feel they'll be able to fix that. Thank you. I'll take all the thoughts and prayers on that and that alone. Yes, it is absolutely electrical. My problem is electrical. And there's damage to the heart. A percentage of my heart is same thing as my brain, right? I have cardio infarction and I have cerebral infarction. So in 2 places, I have a dead spot. So there's a dead spot in the heart, but it's not the end of the world. It's still working pretty well. Emma says it is 1:20 25 in the morning where you are. Well, good morning, Emma. Thank you for getting up so early in the morning to spend your time with me. I really do appreciate that. I have atrial fibrillation, and the first doctor wanted to do the ablation, and I went to see a second opinion. And I have been on medication for 13 years or more now, and I am in better health. Good to hear that, Mind Games. I'm glad to hear that. I really am. I am a very firm believer in getting a second opinion. What was the old, Rodney Dangerfield used to do a bit on that, right? The doctor told him that he needed heart surgery. And he said, can I get a second opinion? And the doctor said, yeah, you're pretty ugly too. But as far as second opinions go, I probably, if before I do the ablation, before I let them go inside and start shocking me, I'll get a second opinion. Judges give big sentence for animal abusers here. They are dead men walking when they get where they're going. Absolutely. And you know what? Honestly, does that bother anyone? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, there's justice in that. He's always in fib. I'm sorry to hear that, Carrie Berry's mom. I hope I hope that it's productive when he goes. I really do. So I may be doing some traveling today, actually. Don't exactly know. There are some big things coming up, and I don't know exactly how they're going to be going down. I told you I'm going to be doing an interview for a television show, or whatever we call these things these days, a show. But it's going to be like a 3-hour deal, right? How dare you spell bradycardia wrong? Cosmic, I expected better from you. I think we'll let it slide this time. So there's a chance that I may actually go to where they're filming, which would mean I would have to do some travel today. And this is I'm going to be a very interesting day or two here in Tucson, Arizona. I went from Phoenix, Arizona, all the way to Tacoma, Philadelphia, Atlanta, LA. I have friends in LA. I didn't. Everyone I knew from LA had moved, but then I had an opportunity to go out and meet the SPTV crew, and there's a fairly sizable group of them out there. It's going to be an interesting day for me, Carrie Berry, to be Carrie Berry's mom, to be sure. It is going to be a very, very interesting day. Yeah, you know what, Nancy? There's a lot of truth to that. She says taking out an animal abuser is preemptive. They often graduate to abusing people. Good riddance. It is a well-known fact that they become serial killers. They really do. That is something that they all, not all, but most seem to share. Fascination with fire, bedwetting until really late into life. Those are usually listed as the big three. So I'm gonna break some rules. My brother is really great at always keeping it under his hat. He'll say, I can't tell you the name of this because I've got a contract, or I've got this, or I've got that. Let me see here. I'm trying to find the I'm looking for a California number here. I'm sorry, everybody. Bear with me. I'm trying to actually make this something fantastic. Here we go. So the interview I'm going to be doing is with Matt Cox, is the name of the gentleman who, if you guys, you may know Matt. He does a lot on YouTube. If not, you've seen commercials for LifeLock or for one of those, or home title lock, where he talks about a couple of signatures and he could steal your entire property. He can steal your and that, they got to file the paperwork. I'm sure you've seen the ads. Well, that's Matt Cox. He went to federal prison for doing just that. He was someone that was running scams, but the same kind of thing that I went to prison for. But he has gotten out and does a lot. He's written some books and done some other things that that are pretty interesting. And the so the name of the channel is, I believe, Inside True Crime with Matt Cox. Inside True Crime. Hear that? Johnny, that's how you do it. When they tell you you're not allowed to tell anybody, you just come on and tell people. And what are they going to do? Right? I think they'll probably film me anyway. But that's going to be the name of the thing. People still won't know when it's going on. We still have to film it and do all that. But that's going to be the name of it. What Johnny's doing is different. He can't do that. But this is just the internet. So, but yeah, it would be Inside Crime with Matt Cox is going to be the show. And I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm also Matt Cox with a C. Sorry about that. Spelled with a C. MATT-COX. And you can Google him. He's got a pretty cool pretty cool program that he's got going. It's I think he's got about 160,000 followers, but he gets a lot of people. I guess a lot of views, and it's going to be very odd, people, because you've seen me on a lot of shows, and I talk about my past, but I talk about my past in relation to whatever we're talking about. This won't be one of those things. This will be talking about my past for the sake of talking about my past. This will be the Tommy Scoville story, which of course didn't start as the Tommy Scoville story. It started as the Brett Miller story. But I'm sure we'll be going through all of that as well. I'm nervous about this one. I also don't like doing things that are recorded, right? I hate doing things that are recorded. I really like doing things that that are live. Tommy is the editor of the Parolees Picayune. Certainly a writer. Gussie, I don't know if I've reached editor yet. I'm working my way up through the ranks. I'm like Jimmy. What was that guy's name? What was the name of the guy that took all the pictures for Superman? Jimmy. Brain damage. This is what happens when you get old, right? Getting old sucks, but it beats the alternative, right? Cosmic, what's the deal with you using all these extra letters? I'm not trying to do Jimmy Olsen. Thanks, Gussie. I'm not trying to come down on you here, but I'm fairly sure Guy only has one Y in it. You can do it any way you want here. Do it any way you want here. We're not going to yell at you. Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy was such a good kid, wasn't he? I mean, he literally was just a good kid. Oh, gee. Tommy, you will do wonderful. Recording is easy. Take out anything that's a blooper. Yeah. You know what? I had a little bit of training growing up in acting, and I've been in a couple of I've done some work, right? You can see me on film speaking. I've done some of this stuff, and those concepts are cool. I like the idea of people going, no. Take two. We'll just do that again. And that's a lot of fun. What's not a lot of fun is when you hand somebody 6 hours of you talking about yourself and they say to you, we'll put this to a 2-hour thing and get it edited together. And 6 hours of you talking gives them an opportunity to take what you say and make it sound like you didn't say it. You know what I mean? Somebody was talking about AI yesterday. It's so funny. I was talking to Johnny, my brother, and I were talking, and they were talking about deep fakes and AIs. And there are a lot of things that are coming up in the news right now that are causing a lot of people to take a really good hard look at some of the videos that are showing up, because it's really hard to tell the difference between a real video and a fake video. I mean, you can go out and watch Barack Obama or other presidents rapping that look real damn real, or making speeches that they just simply didn't do. And they said, my brother says the key is that they just have to have enough material. If they've got you recorded, like they record you for 4 or 5 hours, then they can start. I said, oh my God, think about the two of us. 1,000 hours out there of me talking and laughing and giggling and cursing and screaming. Good Lord, you think you could have a field day with me? Get that contract locked down, says Emma. Well, you know what? If what I would like to do on the bright side, this guy's a convict. He's done federal time, and I realize that to most of you that probably would make you think, oh, then you really better get something in writing. But we have a code in there, and the codes run different by race, and there's a white boy code in there that's pretty hard and true. So what I'm going to say to him is, hey, bro, I would like you to give me your word on this, right? As a fellow would, that this thing is not going to be played with, that you're not looking to take this. And once I get a thumbs up on that, yeah, I'm going to trust them, which I realize is probably not everybody's thinking trust them, but a piece of paper is only as good as the cat that signed it, right? And as a convict, if you get somebody to give you their word and then they know they go back on it, that's a cat who apparently doesn't want to be in the basket. Occasionally, if they decide at that point that they want to go back on it, well, then all bets are off, right? And I don't think that would happen. I don't think that would. Most Australians are convict descendants and proud of it. Yeah, but they won't let any convict into their country. They're real bad about wanting to let me in. They won't let my brother in. They won't let my brother in because of me. You're just a unique person inside and out. What? Put it on your CV. There he goes. I wasn't sure if you were here, Russ, but I'm just going to look over there and go, hey, bro, let's see it, right? Skin that. I want to know that there's going to be some proof to that. And I'm sorry, Russ, I didn't get back to you yesterday and got real late, real quick. I'm going to be back here, Russ, hopefully around noonish on California time. Hopefully it takes no longer than 2 or 3 hours. But I should be back here at around noonish, and then we can fire that up because Russ and I are going to be doing some stuff together. He's got some better equipment. We're going to be bringing you some stories from the yard. Sean Atwood in UK has been in prison and interviews loads of ex-prisoners. He's all right. Yeah, well, you know what? The list of us that have gone to prison and got out and then gone into some kind of I don't know what the hell I do for a living. What is it? Those of us who come out and start recording and streaming or doing whatever, there's a lot of people who leave prison and start a YouTube channel. Very often they just want to talk about the prison stories. So you're chewing on me, right? I think she's such a nice cat, but she just chews on me. I do not want to. I really don't want to do any of that stuff. AI also sets a precedence for people disputing any stupid stuff they said. Yeah, it wasn't me. It was AI. That there's a lot of that's going to be going around, and you heard it here. You guys are gonna look back and you're gonna go, man, Tommy used to talk about that. They are going to come up with some way so that when we're doing, it's like people that don't want images stolen, so they can take the image and basically put a bazillion small little pixels in there that spells things out or does things. They're going to have to come up with a way of making sure that this didn't go on. What about the 10 pounds that paid to go and live with the convicts? Somebody paid 10 pounds to go live with convicts? Tell you what, they can come here. I'll charge them $5. I'll even slap them around when they get here to make them feel like I'll check the paperwork at the door. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it, Russ. I really do. And I look. You know what, Russ? You come across excellent on tape. Everybody is chewing is her love language. No, chewing is just something that she does for laughs, and she only does it in the morning. I don't know what it is with Squirrel. It's something in the morning she likes to nibble on my thumb. But she doesn't. That was a set of glasses that you could record. They have a camera built into them. I think they're about $600. Squirrel just threw them off the edge of the desk because she thinks it's funny. But that's a cat, right? The amount of Joe Rogan AI out there. Oh man, right? I love listening to him talk about it. Yeah, Joe Rogan. Well, I mean, yeah, Joe Rogan and I are in the exact same boat. Only one of us is talented, right? But we have both put out a whole lot of recorded stuff. he does 3 hour live feeds. It's really, really a long time. But so I've definitely not done a lot of 3 hour shows. I've done a handful of them, but I do 2 1 hour shows once a day. So yeah, it stocks up. Good to see you, Snotface. Good to see you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Squirrel, the biter, fighter cat. If you could see her right now, she's perched right here, right above the camera. Like she's just getting ready to dive down and destroy everything that I've got set up. She is definitely a cutie. She may actually do that. This could get funny. Let's see how. Are you planning on jumping on that camera? What are you doing? Great cat. She really is. She's a great cat. So this is going to be a busy week, people. There's going to be a lot going on. But what I can. Rogan is a conservative shill. Gussie. We were doing so good, man. We were doing so good. Joe Rogan is a conservative shill. That's what you got out of that? Really? Wow. Wow, man. It's just such an ignorant thing to say. It really is. If you watch that guy, that's what you get out of his politics. You're going to love this, Gussie, but I don't care if you bail, brother. I really don't. It's such an ignorant statement. I don't even care if you come back. Doesn't that suck? That's not a shill. Who's he a shill for, bro? So Rogan's a shill for who? The Republican Party, the conservatives? Where in hell do people come up with this stuff? Did you ever watch Joe Rogan? For the love of God. The man is a conservative shill. I'm telling you, Gussie, that's the dumbest thing I've heard someone say on my channel. And I've heard a lot of dumb stuff on my channel. Like, that's epic. I'll give you an hour. Come on and tell me how he is a shill for the conservatives. I will give you a solid hour on here. I'll make it a 2-hour show. You got 2 weeks to pull up all the clips you want to prove to me that this guy is a shill for Republicans. All right? I'll give you a month. Of all the people in the world to call a shill for the conservatives. Good God, brother. Please put that together, Gussie. I'm going to give you all the time you want. You got 2 weeks. Take all the clips you're going to get so that you can build a case for Joe Rogan being a conservative shill. I would love to hear that. I really would. What an ignorant thing to say, Gussie. I mean, holy hell. You know what? I don't care if you sleep with him. I don't care if you sleep with him. That guy is not a conservative shill. Holy crap. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible, man. It really is. No joke took my breath away. Gussie, explain to me what face means. I'm super unhip, bro. I don't know what face means. Does that mean you just burned me, or what does that mean? A conservative shill. Wow. I'll tell you something. It astounds me that a conservative shill would go on and do the amount of time that he does in the unadulterated glorification of the use of psychedelics, right? Just the amount of time he has spent diving into drugs and psychedelics to be a shill for the conservatives is a shocker. I mean, really, because that's right in their wheelhouse. I'm talking politics. This isn't what I do, but my God, what a statement. Holy hell, Gussie. Holy hell, bro. And I'm glad you know him. I don't know what the face deal is. Someone will have to explain to me what the hell that means. I spent too much time in prison, apparently. But yeah, that one's a kicker. It really is. That one is an absolute kicker. Sorry, people. Just yeah, sometimes you just got to check because you think to yourself, "There's no way that's real, right?" Sometimes you just have to do that. You'll wear a Wolverine mask. Hello, Nancy. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Mary, welcome. So good to see you. How long were you in prison for? I'm new here. About 13 years. That was not all at once. That was on an installment plan. I did the longest sentence that I was given was close to 9 years. Came in right at about the 9-year mark. Captain Tommy, in Central Florida, Dr. G, medical examiner on TV, she frequently stated, "Don't let me be the last doctor you ever see. Get tested, get maintenance meds, all the difference." I know that there's a lot of truth to that, Janice. And it's, I don't know, it puts me in a weird place, because like I was telling the story earlier, right? I go in and my heart's been racing at 188 beats a minute for 2 days, right? Not good. And based on what my body looks like right then, they wrote me a prescription for 7 medications. And then when I got in to see the specialist afterwards, they said, you shouldn't be taking any of these. That's scary as hell, but I guess it's the world that we live in, right? I mean, I go in with my heart racing. They got to make decisions based on that. But then, you got to kind of go back and, all about the installment plan, do you, Tommy Bird? Russ is getting a kick out of that too. Hadn't heard that one in a while. Had yours on layaway. These are, I'm sorry, people. The installment plan that's a big prison. That's a big thing among the fellas. You get these kids that come in that are real youngsters, and they'll come in there and they'll say, "Yeah, I nothing, dude. Possession of stolen property. I got 4 years. I can do that standing on my head." And you get people going, you know what? It's just going to be a matter of time, kid. You're on the installment plan, and that's it is kind of how it starts to go. It becomes easy to start doing the installment plan thing. Let me see something here. Tommy Bird. Sorry, people, but you know what? These early mornings, sometimes. You know what? If I got a wrench in the house, I got a wrench here. Do me a favor and remove Gussie's ivermectin ain't shit. Could you do that for me, since we don't curse in the comment section? If I got a wrench, V, could you please get rid of that comment? Gussie, we don't curse in the comment section here, bro. It's just not something that we do. So if you could avoid that, I'd appreciate it. And I know that there are a lot of people that don't care, right? But I do, and it is one of the rules that we have here. People, if you missed it, don't trip. But let's please, let's just keep the cursing at it. It's 1 hour a day, man. It's 1 hour a day. We can. I think we can do it, right? And I'll tell you something. We're not doing debate conversations in here on ivermectin either. I promise you, that's not going to be a discussion that we have. It's God in heaven. God in heaven. God in heaven. Yeah, Tommy, after watching you and talking, there's so much more than just being an ex-con, and how I changed my life stepping away from a very connected family of dealers and choosing my path. Man, Russ, it's a beautiful thing when you hit that point where you go, you know what, I'm out and I'm not going to let it define me. I was talking to a partner in crime, so to speak. A person I love deeply and trust. And I was talking, and I'm going on a show to talk for 3 hours about crime. And if I don't glorify that crime while I talk about it, it's not going to get on. if I get on there and talk about how awful everything I did is, it's not going to be a very popular thing because the people that watch that want to hear how much money I stole, right? They want to hear how much I got away with. And hey, don't do that. So it ends up, and I was struggling with this because it's not something that I want to do. I don't want to go on there, and I don't want to be known as a convict. And the person that I was talking to said, you know what, man, you can go and tell your story and not be known as a convict. Being from where you are and I came from, I love to learn and grow with you. You know what, Russ? That means a lot to me, man. It really does. I have a very special place in my heart for the people that watch their convicts because I know where you've been and I know what you've done. And you know what? It's a really funny thing, the whole going to prison and being a convict thing. It's funny and it's funny because it's punishment, right? It's the timeout chair for big people, right? We get put in timeout, and it's such a part of our culture and our society that we've got. Thank you, V. We've got things like we say, lock him up and throw away the key, right? Hope he never gets out. Hope he gets a big cellmate named Bubba, right? But don't drop the soap. Like all of these things, we have accepted punishment as such a part of our society that it's just right. It's ingrained in everything. It's part of it. But the punishment doesn't stop when you walk out, right? You don't walk out of prison and people don't go, that's behind you. Thank God. Look at you now, right? Now you're one of us. Start paying taxes. The PTA meetings are on Thursday. And oh, by the way, you still can't own a gun, but be a good dude, right? It doesn't work like that at all, man. You walk out, and that's when the world really starts to treat you like crap. And it's any girl that deals with me, right? If you're a girl that's stupid enough to ever date me, your friends are gonna have an opinion on the fact that you're dating a guy that's been to prison. I promise you, I deal with this, or I have. I don't deal with much these days. I'm not much of a dater. But when I used to date, when I used to go out with people, it's the truth. Tommy Bird says, yeah, unfortunately, that's correct. I knew two brothers that were very institutionalized. Didn't think they'd ever be right on the outs. One actually did finally, and sadly, the other prefers to stay in. Well, a lot of people do, man. They get to a point where they realize that they can't live on the outside. I mean, most of us have seen The Green Mile. I mean, I'm not sorry, The Green Mile, but Shawshank Redemption, and it happens, right? This is real. When you when you have somebody cook 3 meals a day for you, do your laundry for you, right? Buy your clothing for you. You do not have to do anything but show up, right? And try to not get in a fist fight. That's all you got to do. You just got to show up, right? That's the entire game inside. And then you leave and they're like, guess what? No one's going to supply you with anything. You need to take care of all that yourself. I've told the story about 100 times, but when I got out of prison, Russ, I guarantee you's been there. I know that Tommy Bird has too, but the first time you go into a store, right? I mean, you spend 10 years shopping on a piece of paper. You write down what you want on a piece of paper. 4 days later, you get it, right? It comes down through this little metal chute into a bag. It's certainly not shopping. And, your options for deodorant were stick, or would you like a roll-on, right? Those would be the options. It doesn't matter who makes them, but those are the two options. And I remember getting in there and looking at this wall, and there were, I don't know, 2,000 deodorants on it, maybe, right? I'm not being funny. It was 50 freaking yards wide, and it was nothing but deodorant, like four rows of it. And I think the people in the store thought I was getting ready to steal, right? Because I just kept walking around the store looking at stuff like, I mean, the colors and everything. It was so overwhelming that there was a guy that finally walked up and he said, hey, man, you all right? And I said, you know what, man? I said, I just got out of the joint. I said, and man, I'm just trying to buy some deodorant, man. I said, there are so many options I can't even wrap my head around. And the dude was a convict. I mean, the guy looked at me and he said to me, he goes, what were you using inside? Were you using Crystal Breeze? Russ will laugh. I said, yeah, I actually was using Crystal Breeze. And he's like, did you like it? I said, yeah. He goes, this right here smells like it. Right? The canteen sheet, same thing, UK. That's some people in the US still call it canteen, store or canteen. And it's you fill out the sheet, the canteen sheet. And you got to have it in the night before, right? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Kathy. It's a really unusual it's a really unusual place. It really is. Prison is a really really unusual place. You know what? V a lot. If I had a dollar for every person who said that exact same phrase to me, for real, I hear this more than anything in the world. I swear to you. And obviously because of my crime, but I have heard more people say to me, "Oh, there's no way I could do this. There's no way I could ever do this." And I can assure you that nobody in high school goes, "Oh yeah, I could rob a bank. I'm that guy. I could definitely do that." Right? You don't think that you can rob a bank. You don't even think that you're going to rob a bank, even when you're robbing a bank. Right? The first one that you rob, when you're putting your hand on the door, you're still saying to yourself, "I'm not really going to do this. I'm going to bail out. I'm going to bail out. I'm going to bail out." Until you're standing in front of the teller and telling her you want the money, you're still telling yourself you're going to bail out. But it's not because this gets confused constantly. The fact that you rob a bunch of banks doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you courageous. It doesn't, right? I can sit here and tell you that it does, right? Well, I did this because I'm, super courage and all that BS. But that's not what it is. It's desperation, right? It's desperation. And what it really comes down to, people, is that when you are a man and you're addicted to heroin, you have a couple of choices, right? When you are a woman and you are addicted to heroin, you have a couple of choices. And when you run out of money, one of those choices is your body, right? That choice is more open to women than men. It's not to say that it's not open to men, because there are plenty of people ready to trade any kind of sexual contact, straight or otherwise, right? I, I wasn't made of that. I don't judge people who do what they do to survive. That was not me. And so I became a thief. And the bank robbery was just the bank robbery as a crime is just the top. You get sick of everything else. You get sick of having to sell the stuff that you stole, and you have to drive around the stuff that you stole, and you have to hide the stuff that you stole, and right, you have to worry about all of these things that, well, if what you're stealing is cash, it certainly makes the process a whole lot easier. And you can go into liquor stores, but I shouldn't do this. This is a terrible public service announcement, but I'm going to do it anyway. The truth of the matter is this: if you walk into a liquor store and you rob it, you're going to do 25 years. If you walk into a bank and you rob it, you're going to do 5. I mean, it was simply a matter of researching the most amount of money that I could get with the smallest amount of risk, um, in in doing time. I'm sorry, people. I'm really confused. I'm going through a bunch of things here. I'm trying to find something. You got to bear with me. No, you know what? No, I don't. I'm sorry. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm being stupid. I really am. And I apologize for that. Desperation gives you the courage. Desperation gives you the courage to do the despicable. Then desperation gives you the courage to straighten up. Wow. 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 That's pretty cool, Gypsy. It really is. That's pretty cool. Um, yeah, I think it's boy. I could probably meditate on that for hours. It certainly gives you the courage to go do the things that you need to do in order to get high. And then they're despicable, and everything about it is just awful. Um, but I was so desperate to get my life back. Yeah, that was really one of those things. Wow, I never knew. What didn't you know, John? I know sometimes it's tough to catch something in mid conversation, but yeah. Um, Yeah, this is really messed up. Yeah, I have raised my hand on my couch to ask to go pee once, and I remember taking soups to bed. I remember Russ. I remember once very distinctly. I had just gotten out of prison and was sent to a halfway house, and one of the first things that I did was I was able to go and get a job, and I was forever asking to do things that I didn't need to ask, because I mean I was 2 days out of prison, and you know, first of all they've got you holding a weapon, right? Like this guy's sitting there and telling people that they're doing things wrong and whatever, and I'm literally standing 2 feet in front of this guy with a sandblaster. There's like 9 of us. I'm thinking to myself, this guy's got guts. You know what I mean? Sandblast this dude to death in about 4 seconds. And he's sitting there and talking. And he said, you know, we're taking about a 10-minute rest right now. Right. And then we're going to suit back up and we're all going to go back in. And I said, I raised my hand. I'm like, is it cool if I hit the head? And he's like, are you asking me permission to take a leak? I said, yeah. He's like, dude, we're taking a 10-minute break. I don't care if you go to the parking lot and get high. Just don't let me know what you're doing. And you know, it was one of those reality things. And one of the guys on the crew walked up and he was like, when did you get out? You know, and it was just, yeah, there's things that you get really sort of stuck on. Yes, John Doe. 5 years will get you a bank robbery will get you 5 years if by some chance you did not threaten the person and you did not use a gun. Okay. By the way, that is possible, right? If you walk into a bank and say, give me the money. And you don't have to tell them you intend to kill them. In the feds, do you get a walking? Hold on. In the feds, do you have a walking store or just a window you got to get your stuff out of? The store, you walk into a little concrete building, and there is a room big enough for say 60 guys to be in, and there are 3 metal chutes and a glass window in front of you. And the guy in the glass window is just throwing your stuff down the chute as fast as it can scan, and you've got your laundry sack on the end of it. But there's no, you're not walking. There's not walking. And the store sheet is the front and back of one piece of paper. That's for everything, right? Everything that you could want to own in life will fit on one piece of this, front and back. Really nice. Really nice. Let's just say that if they put anything new on the store list, everybody knows about it really quickly. So, so that's bank robbery. Standard bank robbery carries 5 years. Armed robbery as a state crime carries using a firearm in the commission of a felony in the state can get you 25. So guys that go and rob, I mean, it makes no sense. You're really much safer in terms of the time you're facing robbing a bank. Now, are your odds more likely to get caught robbing a bank? Probably, right? Because the FBI will be investigating it, not the locals. But the other thing is this: if you rob a bank, the bank teller is never going to go like this and pull up a shotgun and shoot you in the chest when you ask for money. That's never going to happen. But that crap happens at liquor stores all the time, right? You go and you do things and people can be armed. And, well, everybody, a master class in minimalism. There you go. Well, everybody, I have I think I've said all I have to say. Candy's Life, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I think I probably said all I got to say. Today, people, I'm going to be busy with this whole going to see the medical professionals. We're going to see if they have anything nice to say. And then at some point tonight, I will be back on the lifeboat, and I will be giving a update of some kind, to be sure. I don't know whether or not I will be traveling, but I will keep all of you in the loop. There was a cat in this basket. She got so blown away at the concept of Joe Rogan being a shill that she literally jumped off the table and ran. Man's a shill for the Conservative Party. Yeah, spent a lot of time listening to that cat tell me he's a shill for the Conservative Party. Good God. You know what, though, people? I'm not smarter than the next guy. If I was, I wouldn't have this show, would I? The show is based on years of screwing up. Maybe I'm the dumb one, right? Maybe that man's just a guy out there thumping for the old Republican Party. Huh? Everybody have a great day, huh? I'll see you guys a little bit later. Mary Ray, hey, I like this channel. I subbed. Thank you, Mary Lee. I appreciate that. I really do. And to all of you that subscribe and hit the bell for notification and do all of that, I really do appreciate that. It helps. Leave a message. Leave a comment afterwards. It really does help. I'm sorry that I don't answer them the way I used to, people. It's gotten a pinch overwhelming. With everything that I did here, I now have this new thing that I do. And it's basically talk to people who would like us to come on the show. So hold on 1 second. Go get my 5 more prescriptions. Thanks, John Doe. That's what I'll do. I'll go get my 5 prescriptions. Hey, Christy. I'm so glad you found the boat. I really am. All right, everybody. I'm going to go get some 5 more prescriptions. You guys have a great day, okay? Make it a good one. This here, that's a cat in a basket, dragging a little paw. It's my girl. Thanks, Christy. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.